Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Brendan and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be talking about one of the hottest cryptocurrencies right now and debating one of the most important questions: should you buy Ethereum? Now, I've talked about Ethereum a lot on this channel, but I want to talk about where I think Ethereum has the best buying opportunities. Maybe where it can bounce the most, where I can make the most gains, whether I'm a trader or an investor. These are the areas that I am going to be looking at buying Ethereum at. So if that sounds interesting at all, make sure you stick around for the entire length of the video, as there will be important information discussed the entire way through. But that being said, let's go ahead and dive on into this. Let's look at the chart and talk about these technicals. So with Ethereum going up to a new high of just below 3,300, and I want to zoom in on this one just a little bit, but with Ethereum getting right into this level, this isn't kind of any significant resistance level that I would say. I would say arguably Bitcoin is hitting that resistance level and seeing some pullback, which is why we're seeing Ethereum struggle at this level. Because if we look right up here, there's really not too much to see until Ethereum gets a little bit closer to $4,000, and then there starts turning some real resistance, or maybe even 3,500. Now, with Ethereum being at this level, there are three key areas that I see as just great accumulation periods, maybe even four that I want to talk about. Now, we're already clearly seeing good support at the floor of $3,000, and as we zoom in on this daily chart, we can see that. We've held this not once, twice, but now three times, and arguably even four times. Every time that Ethereum's gotten down into this area, it has immediately wicked up. So that means that during these daily candles, Ethereum has come, touched this area, but immediately gotten bought back up on 3 to 4 separate occasions. And what this signifies to me is that buyers are pretty comfortable buying Ethereum at this level. Now, there's a little bit of a contest here because there's a little bit of the same thing to the top side. Now, I think that one can definitely argue that these wicks to the downside are larger than the wicks to the upside. And also, Ethereum is in an uptrend right now, so the trend is your friend. So I do believe that ultimately, while this does favor Ethereum, that's not to say that it can't pull back, and pullbacks are generally pretty healthy. So with Ethereum being at this area, if this level of $3,000 is to break on Ethereum, and if I'm going to look to accumulate it anywhere, I want to zoom out and say, all right, where was previous resistance that could now turn into support? And we're seeing that just below that $3,000 area, because we saw this as resistance not once, not twice, but actually 3 to 4 swing attempts to the upside on separate occasions. I mean, these were about a week apart. Ethereum tested these areas and rejected it all the same. So I would say anywhere between this like $3,000 range all the way down to maybe 2,800, or more specifically like 2,900 all the way down to 2,800, there is a pocket of support in here for Ethereum. Now, the lower we go, we still have a lot more support levels. I think some of the most notable ones are going to be a slight one around 2,400 right in here. Again, previous resistance of the 50 EMA, now turn support. But also, I want to look at these EMA bands, because the EMA bands on the daily are beautiful. And if you notice one thing that's different from what Ethereum was doing as compared to Bitcoin, Ethereum never had a death cross on this one day, and although it did get close, it never actually happened, which I find very intriguing and very important. So as we saw, Ethereum used the 50 EMA as resistance pretty consistently over in here, rejecting this relative price area, and also using it as support before that, as we can see the wick happening over to the left of the screen. What I would expect now is that if we have used it as support and then resistance and then now as support again, I would suspect that if Ethereum is going to pull back to anywhere, it's going to pull back to this 50 EMA on the daily timescale, and it should use it as support, at least to see some sort of a relief bounce at a worst case scenario, in my opinion. Now, beyond that, I would look at the 200 EMA as a support area. This one has been a little bit less consistent. I think it's more consistent in the macro, less in the micro, while the one-day EMA is more consistent in the shorter time scales for people who really like trading. And I think that the 200 is a great area for people who like investing, like myself. Now, while I do both, I think, again, it's very personal about how you want to handle these things, but I see these as multiple buying opportunities for Ethereum, saying, all right, if it reaches this area, I see a buying window. If it breaks this, I see my next buying window. If it breaks this, I see my next relative buy window, because we saw that this had a bottom of 1, 2, in fact, 3 separate times to the downside of 1,700, and that really does look like it's the bottom for Ethereum, in my opinion. I think it's very odd, and there's such a low chance of something having a very clear descending triangle, only for it to not break to the downside. Something like this makes me imagine that this is the bottom, and if anything, we're going to see a previous swing high, most likely above the $2,000 mark, and then ideally move up from there. So that's my thoughts on Ethereum right now. Volume isn't going too crazy despite the price going pretty parabolic. Obviously, most of these volume candles, as we see towards the bottom right, are green for the most part with a little bit of selling recently. And despite the selling action happening and what looks to have been a form of bearish divergence, the price of Ethereum really isn't taking that much of a tank. But then again, the RSI isn't moving nearly as much anyway. So I think that we could even break this down on a 4-hour, but for the most part, I want to keep this pretty simple as to where I think good buying opportunities on Ethereum are. And these are a couple of the areas and why. Now, maybe I'll save this for a separate video, but I do want to briefly talk about maybe targets for Ethereum. I've said this before, and again, I think I'll make a whole separate video on this, but I don't think that it's crazy. And in the past, if I would have heard myself in the past saying what I'm about to say today, I would have probably thought I was crazy. But I think that it's not insane to see a $10,000 Ethereum before 2025. So some people are going to say that's way too moderate. You know, you're being way too conservative in that estimate. Some people are going to say you're being way too liberal in that estimate. It will not get anywhere near $10,000. Some people are going to say it's going to be like $100,000. I know there's people on all ends of the spectrum here, but I don't think that that's too crazy of a price prediction for Ethereum, at least by 2025. So obviously time will tell. I'm fairly confident that it will hit that. So the way that I view this now is, where can I get the best buying opportunities to hold for when Ethereum hits $10,000, or in the very least for it to retest all-time highs? Because if I am just a very simple man and I just want to make some profit, I can say, all right, I have the belief that eventually Ethereum will get close to its all-time high, maybe not even hit its all-time high. What could I make if I invested right now? And that would come out to about around give or take 30%, and that's it not even hitting its all-time high. Now, maybe I want to invest a little bit lower. You know, maybe Ethereum pulls back, it comes back to the 50 EMA. What would it look like then if I was just a simple man trying to make some profit and I said, all right, I just want to invest at the 50 EMA, sell somewhere near the all-time high? I could probably make anywhere from 50, 60% depending on where you take profits. But if we're talking about 10K, obviously the profits are even greater. You'd probably get anywhere from, what is that, 200 to 400% returns based off of where you invested. So my goal here isn't to make anyone FOMO, but also help people understand this will continually move up and down while the trend is your friend, and it has year over year been for the most part a very, very bullish asset. I don't see Ethereum going anywhere anytime soon in the world of blockchain, and I've talked about before about just how much of cryptocurrencies' financial aspects are built off of the backbone of Ethereum, meaning a lot of the companies that are blockchain-based companies are on the ERC20 blockchain for the most part. You know, they hold the most. There are outliers, but I don't see Ethereum going anywhere. There's lots of other great cryptocurrencies. Ethereum is not the only one that I'm invested in, but this is one that I am very, very bullish on, and these are some of the opportunities that I am looking for moving into the future. So hopefully you did find this video entertaining. Again, nothing I said here is legal, financial, or tax advice in any kind of way, but these are certainly my thoughts on Ethereum and where I think that some great buying opportunities for myself may be into the future should Ethereum have a pullback like the markets do sometimes. So hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. So I love being able to interact and chat with all of you and get a little bit of a different opinion. So once again, thank you everyone, and I will see you all very, very soon.